Hello future tech leaders, I'm Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
We discussed the sidely tags, we discussed some sidely tags, and of course, we discussed about how you will call the back in sling model. And there is our component. And here we also discussed about how will you call your this model, and from this model I call this method, which was details. Now let's discuss about how and where will you write the actual business logic. See, this sling model will only act as a layer of abstraction between your side. You can write it lightly. That is your front end and your actual business logic. But your actual business logic is written inside the OSGI service. Let me create a service. I can create any like package over here. Package and let me use service. Below this, let me create a new Java file with the name Dojo Word Service. This is a simple Java class that I create. Now let me write method public string. And here get user details. Here what I am expected is, I am expecting to receive 3 parameters. One is a string name. String. String address. Now to now here and what we will do is it will return. Simple business logic, it is doing it's like hello. I am Joe. You can of course write APIs or you could write connect to third parties inside this method. Whatever you want to do, I am just simply returning a string, but consider this. This is a business logic that I am writing. And returning name as plus name. And age. Let's stick to name and age. I am going with address. Now, first thing to make this Java class is component a service. Think each service what you have to use. You have to use the annotation that is component. And why do we write the business logic inside the service? That I will tell you later. Why ocean? I will tell you later. But as of now, we are discussing about how you will make it a string service. And name is equal to the name of the service. Class. Do we write this way or what? This to create a new custom component. It's not component. It's a sling service. Here it makes the use of component at the component annotation. Just in the. No, just a minute. I think It's not. It's service. What I said is at the component is an annotation that I used and I said service but to do your work. This is a service. This is a Java class to make it a service. Simply what I did is I used this annotation. Now this is how you create this, how you make a Java class A. OC service. Use that component. Now the second thing. Second is, why would you write your business logic inside a sling, inside an OSJ service? The answer to this is the object of this OSJ service is only created once. And that is either during the startup of your server or when it is first called. Like you are calling your service. Consider you are calling the service from inside your Tojo word model or the multipass link models, from where you are calling this Tojo, this service. It does not mean from wherever you are calling a new object for this will be created. Its object will either be created. It will be created only once, that is, either during startup of the server or the first time when it will be called. This service is in a year. This OSJ services in a year follows the singular done better. You know, single done better. It's going to be static. Here it follows by default. It does everything. This annotation does everything inside this class to make it a service, or basically it makes it a single term or single object of this will be great. And that object gets stored inside some service registry, somewhere inside your AEM server. There is a space which is called a service registry where this object will get stored, and every time any other service or any other sling model will tend to refer it. It will refer. It will see if the object is there inside the service registry. It will refer that object from them. Otherwise, it will create a new one. Because I told you the first time when it will refer. Either it will be created at that time or during the server startup. It's up to you to decide when do you want the object of this to be created, either at the server startup or when it will be first called. Because see, when it will be first called, then of course the execution time will increase a bit. Sometimes if you want that the performance should be very best, and what you do is you prefer that the service object should get started. It should get created during server setup, and to say should get an object should get created during server startup, and you say immediate is equal to 2. By this way, you are saying that the object of the service should get created at the startup of your server, and there only it should get stored inside the service. If you won't provide the immediate then it will get created when it will be referred for the first time. What I understood is the OSG is the purpose of OSG services to create object once, only once. Well, it's not. The purpose of this is to write the business logic. But the characteristics of this is the single term. Now if OSG is applicable only in this kind of use case wherein the data won't change. Is that how it is? Here you would write all the business logic. Here you will be passing the parameters, and of course the business logic will be performed every time you will be calling. Methods will be called, and depending upon the input parameters, it will behave accordingly. If you want to call an A, P, IN with different value of the parameters, you will be calling this method from different services or different sling model. From there, they will be called for different parameter values. Object is only once, created only once and stored in the, but of course, using that object only, you are calling objects this multiple times. How multiple calls are handled, is it like? Yes, see here. Now, firstly, to call your service, what I will do is private. What service? I use this. Now let me use the get details here. Let me create a new service. I will create a new method. Get new details. And here what I will do is, I created the object of my I did not create the object of my service. I have just created in variable but haven't initiated it. Like in Java or C hash, you would be using new to create, like let me find out how. In .NET it works, but in Java to create the object we use new. See, same everywhere. But here we won't be using new, because if we will use new, every time new object will get created. And service, this doesn't work. Here, we will be using this directly get user details and let pass the name, its full name and age. Age I do not have address. I simply call this and here return this because, and here to call this service, to refer this service, I am not calling this service, I am referring this service. How would you refer is by using the OSDH service annotation. Again the annotation. By using this annotation, you are referring object already created object for this service, and if it's not created, then it will create one and will save it inside the service registry. To call a service from inside a string model, you use OSDH service annotation. To call a service from another service, you use a reference annotation, which I will tell you later. Here we are using a great OSDH service annotation to call a service from inside a Sling model. It's only Sling model who behave differently. Rest is all services only in AEM. To call a service from another service, you use a service annotation. What I did is, you were saying something. Question is now we are looking at other external. If we need to complex logic, if we need to write, we are depending on a custom Java file, and then is this OSDH, that option is only provided using OSDH for a first link, or this is the only way to access or write code, external code. This is the best way. This is the best way to link. Even if you want to write or to connect to some third party, you want to write some complex business, or you can write inside a Sling model. This is the best way to do it. This is also your Java code. You can write it over here. But this is not the best way of working. The best approach or the best patterns to do everything is it's your best practices. Best Java patterns are, they are defined to do the best, to write the code in the best possible manner. But it doesn't mean that without that, if you won't follow, then you cannot write the code. You can still write the code, but that is inside. That is the bad thing. You can write it over inside of a thing model as well. AEM prefers writing using leveraging OSDH. Now, in that case, only singleton is what AEM is preferring. That's the Sling model, the writing inside the Sling services. Singleton pattern is only pattern AEM prefers. Behind the scene. Behind the scene at this it makes the user singleton pattern. Got it. Anything that service directory that by default we are using OSD framework. In other words, if we need to write other than singleton pattern, we have to create another fault. We can write the same folder or in the same folder we can do. I didn't get you. Now any code under the service folder. If we file OSD framework. No. See, it doesn't matter that whatever the name of the folder is. What matters is that you made this class a service by using a direct componentization. We can return this class inside anywhere else as well. What matters is the folder name. I just agree with you. I just indicated it because here I'm writing my models, here I'm writing my service, here I will write my servlets and all those things. At the component means we are making use of OSDI service, OSD framework. Otherwise, we can without component. We can use anything normal Java. Yes, that also you can do. Now you have few more annotations, that is activate, and here you can write a method like public void init. And here similarly is a deactivate method. I hope you got the purpose of these. Did you got? Which one? The one that I'm writing, brother. Init and destroy. See, these are the two annotations. You can also have a label on inside your services. See, the object of this will be created only once. See, if you are like taking the same example. If you are calling some API, maybe you have to create a connection to a database. Of course, you know that the connection should be created only once. That thing, you can put it inside a method which is annotated with activate. Activate. Any method that is annotated with activate will be called only once when your service object will be created. And deactivate will be called when your service object will be destroyed. Now what if we don't? If I don't use that annotation activate? No worries. No worries, you will have it as a simple method like it over here. What? It doesn't matter. What is the name of the method, but matters is annotation again. It doesn't matter what is the name of your package or name of your service object. What matters is the annotation. Initialize, it's not like that. I see what you're saying. You could have right over here to do as well. It doesn't matter. Activate, deactivate is the key. Always annotations are the key. Annotations are the key. Now this side, here we have these sling models. These sling models, when we were calling the sling model, we were calling the sling model over here. It means over here. It's like a new object that is getting created each and every time. For sling model, it's like every time a new object for that is get created. But for services, it's not like that. The existing or the one, there is only one object that exists for it and the same object will be referred or used again and again. This was a bit about your services, And of course, further, you can write all your business logic over here. Whatever you want to write, you can get multiple methods. Do the rest. I told you you can use immediate or immediate to or all. That is by default, it all. That means that the first minute will be that. Here consider we have this dojo word model. It will not be created at the time of startup if we haven't used immediate, true, but it will be used and it will be referred when the service will call it, when the service will start happening. Here we referred it, and what will happen behind the scene is it will be created and will be stored in the service registry and will be referred in pages. That object will be referred in pages variable as well. You see, using this variable only, we further call this method. If I will build my code base, let me go inside Dojo and code because I only made the change inside the code. Now write my own. I'll install Buntag. And here, instead of calling the details or I will keep calling that here, but I will also call the new details method. It's success. Now here. This is the new details. New and D will be capital over it. This is the method name. You get new details. None will be small and D will be capital. If I will refresh it over here, my name is Dojo. My address is Hello Dojo. Hello, I am. Let me just put my name here. I will put some BR over here. Or let me move this also inside the H1. I move this also inside the H1 tag and put a BR over here. That it should start happening in a different time. You can see hello. I am Dojo service here returning new details. I will put my name as Dojo J and address as my address in the if I change anything over here. I hope I am writing the correct spelling. All the business logic should be written inside here. That's the main thing. And how would you call it? By using delete OSG service application. We will discuss about more annotations of this link model when we will discuss how will you perform the cloud operations on a repository, on the JSA repository. There we will. I will show you more annotation. How would you read the repository? How would you modify or delete any node or resource? That thing. Let's go ahead and let's discuss about one more important thing, that is our run mode. Here if you remember, I created my code base AEM 6.5 and here I use startup. And you remember, at that time I told you that the name of my instance will be author and there are two more alias or two more names, which is prod and bipin, which I provided to my instance. Now, these are the names. These are called as run mode. I told you that type. Either you can call it as the name to your instance or these can be called as the run modes. Now we will discuss about run mode. What is the purpose of it? Now consider that you get in a situation that you want to execute different code, different instances. Like consider you want to execute a different code for your prod and a different code or some different code to your QA. Let's consider the API example, only like the way we are discussing. You said that you have your QA and your prod instance. Now you have to connect to some third-party API. The third-party API credentials are different for prod and are different for QA. Of course, that would be the scenario because QA and prod won't be using the same credentials, same API to connect to. Of course, you would be writing the same code somewhere in the code, only you would have to make a check that whether it's my QA instance or whether it's my prod instance. In these sort of situations, the run mode thing are being used. Run mode thing are basically used to assign name to your instances. Here I assign the prod as the name to instance or the VPN as the name to my instance or author as my name to my instance. Of course, author is the default name. If you create your, these are the three names that I have assigned. Important thing